Right, well, welcome back to the Darts with Jack podcast. My name is Jack, and today I am joined by our first ever returning guest on the podcast. It's Matthew Kirkbright. How are you today, Matt?
I'm good, mate. I'm looking forward to it. Um, I'm good. Looking forward to a little chat.
Awesome. So we are going to start talking about Q School, which ended last week. So for people who don't know, this is how people gain their tour cards without doing any of the other kind of tours, like the development tour or the challenge tour. The automatic winners who won the days were Tom Bissell, Justin Hood, Tavis Dudney, and Jim Long. And I'd like to talk about first, Matty. Tom Bissell, someone who I don't know if you had, but I certainly hadn't heard of, came and won his tour card on the first time of asking. Was that a shock to you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I hadn't seen much about him. Not even like county level or like challenge tour or even like ADC. His name hadn't cropped up to me, so it were a bit of a shock. But it just goes to show that you can, if you're good enough on day, you can do it.
Absolutely. And I think we saw that as well with kind of the domination that Bradley Brooks did, reaching two finals, not winning the day, but ending up with the tour card with a record points tally. How good was he this week?
Oh, it was just unplayable at times, and then it gets to latter stages, and it just tail off, or someone would just do something extraordinary, and
Mm,
to beat him. But he pretty much had his talk sound up after halfway through the second day.
absolutely.
With his points tally, but you wouldn't want to draw him first round if you needed a deep run in
No, I think
in
it's a
one of
very
your
good point.
days.
I think it's a very good point as well with the way that kind of Q School works. You can get some really unlucky draws. And talking about now, Adam Lipscomb, arguably the story of Q School. For those people who don't know, Adam Lipscomb didn't qualify for stage two until someone pulled out and he had to turn back from going home. Ended up winning his tour card. What a story that is, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. It were on his way home, and someone had said that they couldn't do stage two, and he had to turn back round. But it's a good story for darts, and he's a very good player as the big baby,
Mm.
um, and he got his chance in stage two and followed it through. I know it took him till last day, but um, he did manage to get enough points. I think he had a deep run on last day to secure it. I
Yeah,
think, if I remember rightly.
yeah, he did.
So it just goes to show you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing with Lipscomb as well, and I think Gemma Hayter pointed out when I was talking to her, Adam isn't signed by a manufacturing company. You know, he's not signed by any of the brands. Do you think that getting his tour card now is that big push he needs to be signed?
Oh yeah, you your darts manufacturers they're going to be have already been looking at him
Mm.
with stuff on Modus and in ADC and whatnot. So they'll definitely be looking. He'll probably be signed now. To be fair, so one of the companies will have come in this week probably and tried to get him
Mm.
locked down into something. Definitely, it's very rarely you have a tour car holder that ain't got a darts
Yeah,
manufacturer behind him.
I think let's hope as well because what a player he is. Moving from one Adam to the other Adam, the ADL's finest, Adam Paxton, wrapping up his tour card. He did it by reaching the final in one of the days. That must be a brilliant feeling for him, mustn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely because he'd had a couple of tough draws in first couple of days. He drew Tom one at days,
Yeah.
uh, Tom Sykes, and he just didn't seem to get that look at green. But when he did, he pushed on and he showed that he was a top quality competitor.
For those people who don't know as well, Adam has been pushing the darts kind of circuit for over 10 years now. He's still extremely young. Is this the start of what could be an incredible career for him?
Yeah, definitely, he's got all the makings to be a top level darts player. I think being on tour, you're playing against the best. You don't get an easy ride on pro tours. So he'll definitely improve his game. He just needs to make sure he can keep hold of that tour card in 2 years' time. Because the last thing you want to do is have 2 years on tour, come off, and then you're thinking, "Oh God, what am I going to do now?"
Yeah.
So just steady away, get in that top 64, and then he'll be sound as a pound.
Absolutely. I think we saw that as well with another big player, Cam Crabtree. All of these guys that we mentioned have done incredible on Modus. Does this just show how big Modus has been for people trying to develop their darting game?
Oh, 100%. It's pretty much the second tour in it, Modus.
Yeah.
It gives you access to being on TV. I know they're on with Pluto now.
Yeah.
And before they've been on Sporty Stuff TV, if I can remember rightly.
Yeah, that's great.
It just gives you a bit of an outlet to showcase your stuff. Like I know Tom Sykes, he's a good friend of mine, as people are probably all aware. But this time 12 months ago, he were playing Chris Wantop for belt at Modus, and he only got 2 days. Thursday afternoon, one of the rubbishest times you can get. Only a few go through out of that group, and I believe it was his second time on Modus this time last year, and he did manage to get through if my memory serves me correctly. But the thing is with Modus is I've never heard of Adam Lipscomb before Modus. Now we're talking about him.
Yeah.
So it gives people that eyes on that you wouldn't normally get if you were just playing county or in your opens and stuff. It's putting eyes on sport where it's not always about the big 110 averages that Littler can produce, and it's a sport for everyone. And Modus is showcasing that, especially with the women's week that they had. All lasses, you don't get that on you don't get that on Sky with PDC. You get them showing women's match play on a Sunday afternoon, but that's all you get all year, unless they qualify for obviously big tournaments. That's only things you see at women.
Very, very good point. It kind of shows what Modus is doing for the game. You mentioned it there. While we're on the topic of Q School, we can't help but mention our good friend Tom Sykes, who unfortunately missed out on a tour card by one win. He was 2 legs away. It must just be a gutting feeling, mustn't it?
Yeah. I'd seen him Monday when he got back, and I just said to him, I says, "It is what it is, mate." I says, we've got to crack on from here. And he says, "Yeah." He says, "I'm absolutely devastated." I says, "A couple of things just didn't go your way, and it's a flip of a coin. It's not that he don't deserve it or that. It's just little 50-50s where it hadn't slightly gone your way, and perhaps on another day it would do, and you'd have got them 2 extra legs, and if someone want playing out the skin and you beat them 6-0 and instead of 6-4, and it's just one of them things." So he dusted him, sent off. He came to local league on Monday. We brought him back down to earth.
Yeah,
playing with all us on a Monday, and by end at night he were right as rain.
Yeah,
and I says, "Come on, we'll move forward this week, lad. We're all behind you."
I think as well, when in that final game he was playing Jim Long hit back-to-back 11 darters, which you're just not going to beat.
No, if someone's hitting an 11 darter on their throw, you've got to go out in 9.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. So
Not much he could have done.
no,
But
you'd
what
be
it does,
averaging 160 to beat that. You know
yeah,
what I mean? As daft as it sounds, you have to go out in 9. If your opponent on their throw, if your opponent's sitting a 10, 11, 12 data, you've got to go out in 9 to beat
yeah,
him. And that doesn't happen every day.
no, not at all. But what it does mean is that Tom does get to go on the challenge tour, and the challenge tour has been incredible these past few days. We are just filming this while Challenge Tour 5 is going on. But just to recap, Challenge Tour 1 was won by Bo Greaves, 2 was won by Carsnade, 3 was won by Bo Greaves, and 4 was won by Darius Lavanauskas. Let's talk about Bo Greaves, Matty. Um, she didn't win a tour card. She was very unlucky not to. Had a couple good runs, needed a few more wins to get the tour card for her. But she has dominated the Challenge Tour this weekend.
Yeah, she has. Not many players get 2 wins in the career on Challenge Tour, and she's got it in 2 days. It just shows that she can do it against the lads. It might give her a bit of confidence because when I've seen her on interviews and stuff, she always seems like she's not good enough for lads to like to play with lads. That's what kind of she gives off, but she's definitely hitting the heights this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Bo Greaves, she seems so lovely, so down to earth. But I think what's kind of impressed me most is in Challenge Tour 1, which she absolutely dominated. And she faced like every game with strong opposition. She beat Patrick Quinn, Mike Warburton, Alexander Merckx, Urian van der Velde, Jamie Atkins, Keenan Thomas, Henry Coates, Michael Unterbuchner, and Stefan Belmont. So, it's all names that we've heard of, but she averaged above 90 in every single game. Doesn't that just show how consistent she can be?
Yeah. This weekend, she's just shown that she can just knock in them high 80s, early 90s averages, and you've got to do something special to beat that. Especially if you've got the off, you've got to be broken, and she's done really well. She's great for sport. She puts eyeballs on it, because who'd have thought that people would be talking about Challenge Tour? That I've seen it on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it because Bo has won 2. She's top at ranking. She'll get her Pro Tour call ups this week. Well, when they come round, because she's top at Challenge Tour. They always feed in from there. So who knows it? Who knows? This time next year, we could be talking about Bo Greaves in top 64. And automatically getting a tour card.
I think that's a really good point that you mentioned about the kind of the Pro Tour spots, as they do often go to kind of the Challenge Tour top people. It's going to give her, that kind of, it's going to show people what she can do when she gets to go on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, and it gives her that chance to go on Pro Tour without actually being on tour.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. Obviously, she'll know what it's like because she's been around the game long enough, but it'll just show her a little bit more on how the Pro Tours work, and I think she'll have a couple of deep runs in them Pro Tours, because she's definitely going to get a call up, because that's just nature game in Pro Tours. Not everybody goes, but she's definitely going to give it a good shot.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be really, really good for people to kind of see what she can do if they haven't watched her already. Okay. Let's now move on and talk about the ADL season 7 beginning tomorrow at the time of recording. How much has the ADL kind of grown in the last year, Matty?
So this will be my 3rd season with ADL, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. I think there were 8 leagues of 8 when I first started, and then there were like people dropping out during the season. So you might end up with about 6 players in your league come the end, and it's grown and grown and grown. I've got a lot of my mates who I play in local leagues with. I've just been talking about it non-stop to them, saying how good it is. So I've got them signed up, and then it's growing bigger and bigger. I think there's 9 leagues now, with some leagues being split in 2.
It's gone massive.
Yeah. When I was talking to Jack, one of the owners at ADL, and he was like, "We've got like nearly 200 members." I was like, oh, "That's just mad."
Yeah.
But it's a good thing, good community, and everybody enjoys the game of darts.
Absolutely. Really good talking point as well, Matty. We are both in the same league this season, League 7. It's a massive league. I think we've got 13 players in. What are your predictions? What are your ambitions for the league ahead?
So I just got promoted into that league this year. So it'll just be finishing mid-table.
Yeah.
I don't crack no pots. Just steady averages. Just keep my average going up, which it has been. And if I can pick up a few wins, nice one. But it's all about enjoyment for me.
I think it will be good once we have our game, Matty, to kind of report back on the podcast. What are your predictions for our game? Where do you think it's going to go?
Well, it could go either way. It's all dependent on the day. Because sometimes I can average like 65, 70, and then some days I can average like 38. But it'll be a good game. It'll be a close game, I reckon. And I'm sure we'll both enjoy it, especially because we'll be able to have a chat while we're having a chug.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking now about kind of the ADL in general, they've introduced this ranking system for 2025, which is going to give players massive opportunities. I think it's kind of the top of the rankings at the end of 2025 is going to get Q School paid for them. How massive is that for people, knowing that they can invest into the ADL? You know, it's only £20 a season and get something so massive out of it.
Yeah, it's a really good thing because people. It's a big lump sum. Is £500 to a lot of people, and to get it paid for, it just secures it for you really, and you've got a chance. You've got a chance of securing your tour card, and it will change your life. All you need is a good run in stage 1 and a good run in stage 2, and you've got it.
100%. I think the way Q School works, it is set up just like that. It's all about, kind of capitalizing on your opportunities.
Yeah, Q School, you've got to be on your game. You only need one good day, and if it can easily come, anybody can get the tour card quite easily. Obviously, if they're good enough.
Moving on now, Matty, to some quick fire questions to round off this interview.
No worries.
Okay, your first one. I'm going to see, got a couple of the questions that I asked you, when we did the last one. Let's see how much they've changed. Okay, first question. If you could choose any member of the ADL to be your pairs partner, who would it be?
Tom Sykes, because he already is on Monday League.
Another really good question here. I think it's quite a challenging one. If you could introduce any format to your kind of league season, so it could be like cricket, Bob's 27, double in, double out, what format would you introduce?
Double in, double out, because it'd definitely be interesting in our leagues.
Yeah. Okay. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would you eat?
Chicken shawarma wraps. I'm pretty sure I said that last time I were on as well.
We'll have to see if that has changed this time. Well, from the last time that we did it. Okay. If you had one double to save your life, what double would it be?
See, last time it was double 11, but I'm liking double 10s at minute.
Switch by one then.
Yeah, switch by one.
If you could only throw one set of darts for the rest of your life, what darts would you choose?
This is a tough one. I'm chucking with Thomas Banks at minute, so I'm playing well with him, so I'm going to have to say Thomas Banks.
Stick with him. The mission darts.
Yeah.
A good choice. I think actually when I did my review video of kind of the mission launch, I picked them out as a really good dart. Lovely as well. Thomas Banks, a really good upcoming player.
Yeah, definitely. He's done all right this week on Challenge Tour. I've seen he's had a couple of
good
decent runs, couple of decent runs here and there. He's definitely one for future is Tommy Banks.
Absolutely. And to round off the interview, a good question which I've been asking more and more people is if you could play darts in one venue around the world, where would it be?
Winter Gardens.
That's been the most popular answer.
Yeah, it's only because I can drive home. Getting me own bed. It's a bit far away, is Ali Pally.
Well, thank you so much, Matty. You've been our first returning guest. Your original episode still one of our most popular. So let's hope this episode as well is brilliant for the listeners.
I'm sure it will be.
Thanks, Matty.
Cheers, mate.